Now in studio is Ruth Wasserman Lande, the CEO of Global Strategic Consultancy. Thank you, Ruth, for being with us this hour. We're also joined from the UK in Buckinghamshire by Yossi Eli, a researcher of Turkish contemporary history. Thank you as well, Yossi, for being with us as we try to discuss the changes that we might see this year in the Middle East. And Ruth, I'd like to begin with you. We just heard President Erdogan saying, well, things could have been better if it weren't for X, Y, and Z. Of course, he had said very different things about Israel in the past.
Extraordinarily so,
yes. Very much different. What is Turkey's endgame, if we can try to guess?
So obviously there's a kind of an interest game. It's all a matter of a chess kind of a playoff. And I think that they're looking at the United States, looking at the new presidency that is expected to come in and trying to figure out if the, let's say, freedom that they had from the former presidency is about to end, which it probably is because of the declarations that have been made formally by current President Biden. And the issues that have been taken out, or rather, let's say it less diplomatically, the challenging acts that have been carried out in Syria, for instance, are not going to be overlooked by a new presidency in the United States. And I believe that is a very worrying, incentivizing kind of interest that have caused Erdogan to look onto Israel and perhaps express himself in a softer manner than before.
Of course, Israel was topping the headlines, especially at the end of the year with those accords signed and mediated.
The Abraham Accords.
Exactly, by President Donald Trump. Yossi, if we can bring you in for this one, how does Turkey view these developments? It's in Istanbul, viewing these accords being signed at record pace. What is Ankara thinking?
Ankara is trying to reposition itself vis-a-vis this new situation that it's facing. I mean, as Ruth mentioned, the election of President-elect Joe Biden in the United States does make a significant change in the politics of this of the Middle East. There's another thing that we mustn't forget, and which is the fact that there was a war in the Caucasus, and Israel and Turkey found themselves in the same side, effectively, both supporting the Azeri claims over Nagorno-Karabakh. And it wouldn't be surprising to me, and I believe to anyone else, that the Azeri President Ilham Aliyev had a major role in bringing or trying to bring these two sides together. Israel and Turkey were very much involved, either directly or indirectly, with the Azeri effort, and I think that must have played a major role in Ankara reconsidering its relations with Israel.
What could Israel stand to gain, Ruth, if it does, let's say, in a scenario that it does go along with Erdogan's lovely invitation to renew ties?
Well, first of all, the relations they continue. In other words, there's a very significant aspect of the relations because of the geostrategy, the security issues. I mean, Turkey is not a player to be, let's say, ignored in terms of regional stability, but it's a two-edged sword. And because of the recent, I think from 2008, more or less, the deterioration has begun and has gone really from bad to worse. I think that Israel needs to renew and take every possible step to try out this new kind of policy positively and yet cautiously, because we have newly found official friends in the region. The importance of the regional stability and the newly found, I would say, coalitions in the region are extremely important to Israel. And the delicacy of these statements needs to be checked and balanced, as opposed to, let's say, differing interests in a short period of time.
And on that point of the coalitions being made, I want to pick that up with you, Yossi. The general consensus that we've heard in recent weeks is that Israel signing these accords with neighboring countries, could help create a coalition against Iran, Iranian expansionism, the Iranian nuclear program, and so on. Where does Turkey fall in this puzzle?
It's a very difficult question to answer easily. The map of interest, as Ruth has suggested, is such that it's very mixed up. So, as I gave the example of the war in the Caucasus. The war in the Caucasus, Israel and Turkey were on the same side. On other issues, they definitely are not on the same side. I think at this point it's very difficult to say what would be what is the Turkish reaction. I think they're still figuring it out themselves. And in addition to the elections, the results of the elections in the United States, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to say what would be the reaction. I think that what seems to be the immediate response would be that Turkey will try to reposition itself with regards to many issues many issues in the Middle East, including its relations to what we call the moderate axis of countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and the other Gulf states, with the exception of Qatar, of course. So I think that we probably will see rapprochement between those countries and Turkey. That is, it seems to be the reasonable response at this point in time.
Do you agree, Ruth, that Turkey is trying to reposition itself maybe as a friendlier country, but albeit with the same president?
Let's say that the relationship between Turkey and Iran are rather ambivalent. I mean, depending on which occasion, in Syria, for instance, they were definitely not in the same interest box. But rapprochement with the Gulf states, I must say I have to take this with a grain of salt, because it's going to take some doing to get the Gulf states to sort of break down and dissipate the antagonism towards Turkey. It's going to take some doing on the part of Erdogan.
Well, I wish we had some more time with both of you here in studio, but as usual with news, we have to compress everything to very little time slots. But I'd like to thank you very much, Yossi Eli and Ruth Wasserman Lande.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
For us as well for being with us on this story. And Happy New Year.